The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 10th day of October. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman. She's Sancha Durham, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sister Sancha, how
Good
are
morning.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you today?
Drier than most Bermudians were yesterday.
Listen, yesterday was a headache. Trying to get Maddox to school on time didn't happen. But just the amount of times we had to turn around and the traffic and the flooding and it was really crazy.
You know, I have so much to say about that. I really do. I have so much to say about it. I don't know where to start. I think, and it's not that I'm speechless. Because it's hard to have this conversation without being political, if that makes sense. It's hard to have this conversation without kind of asking even more questions to get to the answers. But I am sorry that it took you that long. I'm sorry to people who, felt like crap going into work in those conditions. I'm sorry to the children who,
I don't know anybody that wasn't soaked.
Yeah,
I had to find a positive in it. So as I was there, I was taking deep breaths and I was like, you know what is the positive? What is the silver lining in this? And then I said to myself, it's quality time for my son and I in the morning. And we had loads of discussions about everything. So that's kind of how I turned it around and was like, let me find a positive quality time.
Yeah.
I don't need them to give me quality time all the time. I just need them to fix it and make it better.
Yeah, that's positive and necessary. But I think about those who couldn't find the positives. I mean, Bermuda has a 1 car per household rule, and we'll get into how that impacts people who can only ride to work. But greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Jamillah Lodge on from the BEDC for another segment of We Mean Business. We're going to be talking about something new, a new marketplace that they put together. Don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, let's jump into today's conversation. So if you're not based in Bermuda, if you were living under a rock, if you were not listening to Teo, yes, there was a big hurricane hitting Florida, central to south, well, pretty much almost the entire state except northwestern Florida. But in Bermuda, we had our own weather-related issue or issues. And, I tweeted yesterday, or do they still say tweet since it's named X? Do they say tweeted or what do they say now?
I still say tweet because how do you say I X'd?
Yeah. Well, maybe I post, maybe post. Well, anyway, I tweeted, post, axed, whatever. You know what I mean? I posted on Elon's thing. And I basically said, Bakery Lane the Bakery Lane joke has become island-wide. What I meant by that is before Bakery Lane would get flooded, right? And you would always find someone trying to become famous by Mr. Photogenic or something, trying to drive through that ocean of water. And yesterday, as people were sending around the videos and the pictures, it really, something really stood out to me. And just hear me out when I'm saying this, because there will be some people offended, but you know how I feel about that. I'm not here to say that one government was better than the other. As Sandra just said regarding yesterday's weather, me find the positive. But anyone who grew up in Bermuda in the 80s and 90s grew up in a much better Bermuda in terms of what it looked like and what it felt like. That's not saying that racism didn't exist in Bermuda then. That's not saying that everyone's life was great then. But I guarantee you, even those who struggled may have lived better during that time. The thing about governing and buildings and infrastructure, you don't just build a house today and live in it forever. You have to maintain it. When you buy a house or build a house, you may need to call on a plumber every now and then. May need to call on a maintenance person, an electrician. That's how the infrastructure of a country works. And no one in their right mind can tell me that what we have seen in Bermuda over the last decade or so is not a reflection of the state of the country in so many respects, especially politically. So the question of the morning, very simple. What concerns you most about the flooding throughout Bermuda? What concerns you most? And also, do you believe that Bermuda has infrastructure issues? Yes or no? Sancha, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so much to say about this. There's a few things. Obviously, sea levels are rising and are causing issues for us, right? The water levels are higher and creating flooding. But secondly, what I'm seeing coincidentally is that in the areas, and I'm just referring to the areas that I've seen that I drive through, it seems that where they have done works in engineering have done work, those seem to be the areas that are flooding. So obviously there hasn't been a proper drainage that's been installed. So if we look at this by Southampton Princess in that area, it never used to flood like that. They did a lot of work in that area and now it's flooding. You look just before Price Right in Southampton. That's Warwick, sorry, in Warwick area. That wall that they spent a whole lot of time, that sidewalk, creating, obviously there wasn't the proper drainage put into place and we have flooding there. So that concerns me. So the water levels are rising, the proper drainage hasn't been installed. But then secondly, we know that we have these issues. We know that there's going to be flooding. We see the torrential rain and there isn't emergency systems that are put into place, whereas the units are getting there fast enough to say, hey, don't go through here, or, just keeping us safe. And that was my thing. So coming through Southampton Princess in that area yesterday, it was so flooded that cars were turning around. But how long did it take for someone to get there to actually turn the traffic around to avoid anyone being hurt? Those are the things that concern me.
Yeah. You said a lot. And I think it was everything you said is valid, Sancha. And while you said a lot, I know there's a lot more you can say and will say.
Yeah.
But the fact that you said a lot in such a short span tells you that we have a problem, Sancha.
Yeah.
And we can't continue to ignore it. I saw a post yesterday. I think someone shared it in the TDH chat. And they said that we have these issues, these infrastructure issues, yet the leader of Bermuda, the premier of Bermuda, saying we're going to have a budget surplus. Of course, if you're not investing in what needs to be invested in, if you're trying to save face. I asked on the back end of my question yesterday, how did we get here? And someone responded, it started in 2005 when we started to, cripple ourselves with debt. Let's go to the audience. We didn't even address you this. First off, Suzanne Ingham says, awesome morning, Jamel and Sancha. Great to see you, Sancha. You look fresh and amazing today. We've got David Michael Wilson. He said, another day above ground, another day safe and sound. One more day to go out and be blessed. One more chance to be less stressed. Happy, thankful Thursday, TDH fam and crew. And likewise to you, good brother. But let's go to the question of the morning. What concerns you most about the flooding throughout Bermuda? And do you believe that Bermuda has infrastructure issues? Derek Hendrickson says, blame Oregon Trail for all that. What's Oregon Trail? I'm slow.
I don't know. I saw that and I sat here and I Googled it and I'm like,
what's
what?
Oregon Trail? Is that like a game? Help me. I feel so old and out of touch. Sorry. I'm sorry, Derek. You're Googling it? Sandra's looking it up. All right. Suzanne Ingham says, I was off yesterday and didn't come to about 9:30. So she said it broke my heart to know I missed TDH. Oh, we missed you too. Awesome day to be with you today, TDH. We missed you yesterday. David Michael Wilson says, it concerns me that nothing, or at least the very least, very little is being done about Bermuda's infrastructure. Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, our island is literally falling apart around us. Government House, Sessions House, many other derelict buildings. With what we saw yesterday, imagine if Milton was a direct hit on Bermuda. Let's stop there, Sancha, because when we grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I'm aging us this morning, but it was a different time. A lot of young people won't know this, but when we grew up, there was an arrogance about Bermuda. We bragged about the infrastructure. Oh, we could take a hurricane category 5 because we're built to withstand.
Yeah.
Right now, we can't even take rainfall. I sent a message last night. I'll share it publicly. I'll share publicly what I said, and I'll share it with all of you in the audience. So this is the message I sent. Let's just go. Don't mind me. I shouldn't be looking at my text during the show, but I'm doing it for all of you. But I said last night, I listened to the mayor of Wellington, Florida, which is where our colleague Teo's sister lives, right? They're all the way on the east coast of Florida, so very far from where the direct hit of the Hurricane Milton was. But he spoke on how his home insurance went up 45% due to hurricanes, and it's driving people away from home ownership in the state. And, Florida was once known as an affordable place with beautiful weather to retire. But I tied it into Bermuda by saying this as well. It's interesting how we can continue to deny how climate change is impacting how we live. Even as it relates to Bermuda, the rain we experienced last year, it was abnormal. Remember, it rained nonstop last year. It was abnormal, and it's already been proven that our infrastructure can't handle it. Interesting times we're living in. But here we go. We can try to find solutions or remain in a place of ignorance that gives temporary comfort until the chickens come home to roost. And I still don't know if that's the saying. That's the saying, right?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, but you got my point, folks. Like, we have to get a handle on this. Like, and I'm not being disrespectful in saying what I'm about to say, but we could party and drink our lives away and listen to music on the radio in the morning, or we can come together on the daily hour and have important community conversations that are going to help us address the very things. Too many of us are waiting until things come on our doorstep, and this is not one we can afford to do. My homestead, the wall's falling in already in Bermuda. We see roads eroding. You saw what happened out by St. John's Church.
Yeah.
You're mad going to work now and being inconvenienced. This is only the start unless we arrest and fix the problem. And I'm not quite sure, Sancha. I'm not quite sure that we understand what it's going to take. We cannot continue. We just had a government celebrating a victory like it's a sport. And within a week, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Let's go to the audience. Sancha's on fire. She's always on fire and on point. Karen Simmons says, definitely have infrastructure issues. We definitely do. Renee Simmons says, it's all blockage because at every foothill, there's a settlement. Government have not kept a monitor on the flow of rain drains when it actually settles, basically at more than one hill in some places. Renee Simmons goes on to say, the infrastructure is horrendous and long overdue for attention, needs to be addressed ASAP. And Suzanne Ingham says, Jamel, you have nailed it. She says, shout out, keep yelling out. Teray Toll says, what concerns me most is that even with these obvious infrastructural issues, we may still have a leader who downplays the situation and acts like the government is doing its best. Derek Hendrickson, to answer the question, it seems like government's efforts to attack the deficit means less to little investment into maintenance.
That's what I was going to say right there. It's like, we're here celebrating, but that money hasn't been put where it needs to be put, which is why we have a surplus at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I was going to go back and say, Jamal, the last storm, I was one of those people that used to brag, be like, we're not like Florida. We have the infrastructure. We can withstand a storm. The last storm, I was on my way home and I was just like, oh, no, I didn't know whether it was getting old and I was getting nervous or really I had legit concerns. Like, I don't feel as safe as I used to. So I'm going to sit this out. I literally did not come home. I was like, I will deal with that once it's passed. And we shouldn't have to feel like that, right?
It's shameful. It's shameful. Again, people will sit here and act like I'm making excuses and saying that the previous governments, the governments that existed when we were growing up, were perfect. No. And if you know me, again, I checkmated you all last week when you said I was biased and I showed you what I said. I could show you what I've said about the old governments as well. Let's just get the shirts made, Maya. Jamal is an equal opportunity offender. That's my gift to the audience for Christmas. I will get the shirts made. I don't care who you are. I don't. I really don't. My point is, I'm not making excuses for bad governance, then or no. I'm simply saying that anyone who tells you that the country is in a better state today, not talking about themselves. Many of us, Sancho's life may actually be better as an individual. My life may be better as an individual. Well, it's not. I'm going to provide for myself right now. Back then, my parents were doing it. But you get my point. I have to work for mine now. My point is, Bermuda as a country was the envy of many jurisdictions. Bermuda is not that anymore. And for those who want to make excuses and say these problems are not unique to Bermuda, we know that. And that's the bigger problem, because these problems didn't exist for Bermuda like previously. It's like if you build a bridge today, Sancha, if you build a bridge, right? And that bridge is meant to last 100 years. You don't wait until you get to year 99 to fix it, right?
It's an ongoing thing.
Bingo. You maintain it over a period of time. And I just don't know how we're going to do that if the government is playing politics. The whole thing about the surplus and the deficit, that's politics. That's politics. That's to make you look good. Look, at the end of the day, we have an issue in Bermuda, and I'm putting this on the people of Bermuda. You heard that saying, you get the government you elect. You also get the government you don't elect. That's for folks who don't, participate like myself. Charles H. Jefferson II says, yes, that's the saying. Oh, yes, when the chickens come home to roost. He says, we can't wait until things happen to try to fix things, much like the digital infrastructure. And we saw what happened last year with the suspected cyber attack. Yeah, we sure did. We sure did. Audience, do us a favor real quickly before we go any further. It is not going to cost you a thing to do us one favor. Let's use this time, whatever platform you're on, give us a like, love, subscribe, follow. Make sure you share this link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We want to ensure everyone has access to these important community conversations, because at the end of the day, you know what I always say at the beginning and end of every episode? Help us grow beyond the mic. We mean that. We mean that when we say that. Help us grow beyond the mic. We need to take these conversations beyond the mic. And I'm not saying we need picket signs. But don't wait till our politicians come knocking on our doors. Remember who they work for. And some people will say works in engineering and civil servants. You know what I've said before on this show? And Maya and Phil, you can hold this note for me. But sometimes we have to remind those who work in government that they don't work for the governing party, rather the people of Bermuda. Let's bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour news break. And we'll have Jamillah Lodge coming up from the BDC. It's another segment of We Mean Business. We'll be talking about their new marketplace for entrepreneurs. Before we bring Maya in, Tamara De Silva says, government had plenty of earmarked money to purchase electric vehicles, but not enough to fix the roads. Can't wait to see how they hold up in our flooded streets. Well, yeah.
That's a whole nother discussion.
Oh, Mr. Tamara. We appreciate that comment. Absolutely. Look, they will find money for things that they want money for. At the end of the day, this is not, again, and I want people to understand before we bring Maya in, this is not a criticism of the political party. It's a criticism of the government. Let's not forget, prior to 2017, there was another government that had 5 years to work on our infrastructure. Again, no government's going to be perfect. They're not going to address everything that we deem important. That's why it's up to the people of the country to hold them accountable. One of the things that most people, and we have a semi-democracy, most people in democracies do, the one thing we tend to do, we tend to talk about it. We don't tend to be about it. It's time to show up and let them know that you know how to do more than vote. Let's bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour news break. Stick with us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
You know what? Feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Grateful.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Like the hairdo today.
Thanks.
Why? Okay, you know what, folks? I'm done. Before we came on air, right? I'm about to tell the story. Before we came live, right? And we're going to start recording and sharing this with the members, right? Before we came live, this is how they treat me backstage. Sancha goes, Maya, with or without? So I didn't know what she's talking about. So Maya gave her answer. So I'm like, I guess men's opinions don't matter. No, they don't. You should have seen how they jumped.
Let's be honest. So my with or without audience was with the earring or I had on a stud. Women don't really get like dressed for men. We really don't.
I'm your boy. I'm your brother. I'm like, but mind you, I wouldn't have known what to say.
I would trust Maya's opinion before I trust yours, Jamal. I'm sorry.
That's fair. That's fair. I honestly wouldn't have known what to say. I honestly wouldn't. But I'm just letting you all know that I'm trying to get better at, this thing and making sure I recognize stuff. So you all say.
I think she just did like a because she's had her hair like this many times before. It's kind of her signature. So you recognizing it right now, it's not really anything special because it's something that she does on a regular basis.
Nice shirt, Sancha.
Thanks. It's new.
There we go.
That's it.
That's
it around there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So real quickly, what's Teray talking about? Jamel, when you start wearing it. All right, so I'm gonna wear earrings tomorrow. Who's co-hosting? Oh no, Larry. I can't ask Larry.
Don't do it. It's certain things we just leave it. Okay, but let's leave this here.
No, I don't know if the holes will still be open, but yeah.
Probably are.
Huh? You think? Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. It probably hurt.
I don't think you're that guy anymore. Let's leave that alone.
Let's leave that in the Niners or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My no earring. I put them in May, I think, when I came to Sherry. I don't know. Anyway, Maya, enough about me. Let's talk about what you got in the news, because Bermudians were drowning yesterday.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour Newsweek brought to you by the great people at People's Pharmacy. So yeah, the top story for this morning, the island did experience some of the most extensive flooding that we've probably seen in years. Here's a little bit more. Roads in several areas, particularly in Southampton, were submerged, causing chaos for both motorists and nearby residents. Yesterday, large sections of Middle Road near Lighthouse Road were completely underwater. Vehicles struggled to pass through the flooded streets as they attempted to navigate the deep waters. Residents living along the affected stretch of road have also been pleading with motorists to take alternative routes as waves created by passing cars were flooding into their homes. This was causing major distress, and homeowners and residents were hoping that government would come by and put cones out to stop traffic from coming through this particular area. The Ministry of Public Works has issued a statement explaining that the flooding is due to a drainage problem in most areas. The Minister of Public Works, the Honorable David Birch, said, quote, "The sheer volume of water overwhelmed our drainage infrastructure, which is designed to handle typical weather patterns. This extraordinary weather event is the primary reason for the flooding we are experiencing. We appreciate the public's patience and cooperation as the water recedes and the drainage system returns to normal functions." They also added that to enhance the ministry's ongoing efforts to address draining concerns, the public is encouraged to report flooding issues by email to potholes@gov.bm. We also reached out to a local insurance company, Friesenbrook Meyer, for advice on what motorists and homeowners can do to protect themselves from the damage caused by flooding. We asked, are there any trends the company has noticed regarding increased claims from water damage, and how is the company adapting to this risk? They responded saying water damage is a common claim and varies. One of their claims adjusters would have to assess each claim on a case-by-case basis to determine coverage. There are no identified trends at this time. They also reiterated for all vehicles to please ensure that you do not expose your vehicles by parking or driving in flood-prone areas or still standing water during heavy rain or storms. For now, officials are urging drivers to avoid flooded roads and residents to take precaution where possible. We'll continue to bring you updates as this situation develops, and please stay tuned for more details on repair efforts and weather forecasts as we move forward.
I don't know if you guys remember 2005, the coverage of Hurricane Katrina, but it was devastating. That's what Bermuda looked like to me. To see on Marsh Folly, which is right down the hill from my house, that home right there, where if they open their door, water's gushing in. And I'm questioning the vehicles up near Waterlot. Seeing the bus and the cars. And I remember last year when we were speaking about the potholes, and people were saying, is government going to be, more lenient, getting cars passed and impact our insurance and, the repairs and so on. People have work to go to. And I want to say something that no one said this morning. But a lot of businesses relocated to Bermuda. Bermuda, capital of reinsurance and captive destination. Does this impact seeing Bermuda as a business destination, or is it just taxes? Because if I'm seeing this, and this is something that doesn't seem to be being fixed, is this still a place I want to do business? We have to be honest with ourselves. This is not the Bermuda of the 80s, not the Bermuda of the 90s, and certainly not the Bermuda that many of us grew up in, period. And it may cost us if we don't arrest this problem. And I just want to read this because Maya's got more news to do. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, part of the problem is a good infrastructure isn't sexy and doesn't garner votes. I wish we had elected officials who said and did what was right, regardless of what it means for the political future. Let's just, hold on. I've got a sound effect for that. Rim shot. Yeah. Go ahead, Maya. Sorry.
All right. Well, in more news, the Ministry of Youth and Development and Seniors, the Honorable Tanae Farbert, actually presented Bermuda's first National Seniors Strategy Draft. So the strategy lays out a 3-year action plan from 2024 to 2027. The strategy goals are structured around 4 key pillars. That's healthy aging, empowered citizens, age-friendly environment, so better public transportation, and as well as community. Here's a little bit that came from the minister as she presented at a press conference.
We are on the cusp of significant demographic change. Bermuda's population, over 65, will grow significantly, with an anticipated increase to 15,825 seniors by 2026. This growth, while we welcome, also brings challenges and opportunities for our healthcare, housing, and social support systems. To meet these needs, the government's mid-year budget has allocated funds towards improving healthcare access, affordable housing initiatives, and expanded public transport options.
So
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So we're just looking at like just that number there, over 15,000, what seniors, persons over 65 plus. And then obviously we talked a lot about pensions last week and how the the Honorable Curtis Dickinson, former Minister of Finance, like felt about the new legislation that was going to be moved through as well. So we're looking at so many differentials, kind of blocking heads right now as to what they're trying to do for the youth, what they're trying to do for the seniors, and what's realistic in moving forward, so that there is an actual like healthy pension for persons who need it and those who are still putting into it.
Okay. I'll just echo what Charles said already. I just wish we had a government or elected officials who did what was really right, regardless of how it impacted their political future. I just think as long as we have people who are fighting for a job, which is to be elected, then we're not going to be looking at ways to get younger people back to Bermuda. We have enough young Bermudians outside that could come and support, to make sure we have people to take care of our older Bermudians. We're just, it's a bad state. And I think we've got to admit that regardless of where you stand financially, what you have, like we're in a worse off state. How do we solve that? I think we have the answers. We just don't have the people with the courage to make it happen.
Well, for those who do want to give feedback about that strategy as well, you could go to forum.gov.bm. They're always asking for a community to get the feedback on the new things that they're pushing through. So you can do that as well if you wish. Now, on other news, meanwhile, the Bermuda Police Service is still seeking the assistance in locating the 16-year-old Raquel Sequeira. Again, the description is there and her image is there. You can see it on the screen, but she described as light complexion, 5 feet 1 inches height. And the last time that she was seen was in the area of Hillview Lane, Warwick, around 11 p.m. on Friday, October the 4th, wearing black and white pajamas. So efforts are still being made by the BPS officers to locate her, and they are still ongoing. But if you do locate her and you do see her, please call the police number at 295-0011 or the Department of Child and Family Services at 278-9111.
Yeah, let's get it's she's I'll repeat what I say every time. She is a child.
Yeah, indeed. And meanwhile, for those who are looking for some action-packed coming up very soon, the Bermuda football team will be playing this week on October the 12th and the 15th. You can get your tickets at gpass.bm if you're interested to go and support the team while they go into the CONCACAF League 4.0 October window, and the game where Naki Wells will be returning back to Team Bermuda as well.
All is well. All is well. All right. You like what I did there? You see what I did there?
That was actually pretty cute. I like that. All right. Now we're looking at
all right. They don't do that often, folks. Go ahead.
We're looking into the weather now. As we know, it's been really kind of bad out there, but the weather forecast says a transient ridge of high pressures brings a brief return to drier and sunnier weather today. Another low then develops ahead of Hurricane Milton as it downgrades to a post-tropical low on Friday. Both lows are expected to generate strong and gusty local winds and bring a few showers as they pass to our south late this week into the weekend. So we got early clouds and a chance of 1 to 2 showers today, but hopefully a little bit brighter thereafter. And we got a high of 81 degrees.
All right. Better weather than yesterday. Not great, but better. Sancha, do you have any days of the year for us?
I do have, as normal. I feel like I come on here and have 2 every time. Today is World Mental Health Day, which is very important. I feel like there's a stigma around still a stigma. We're making steps, but there's still a stigma around mental health. You go to the doctor when you feel sick, but we have to be okay with when you're not feeling well mentally to get that help that you need to receive, and don't feel bad about it. And my second one is World Homelessness Day. Another thing that, I felt like when I was young, I was able to say we didn't have a whole lot of homelessness in Bermuda. And now I look around and my heart breaks that, we do have people on Front Street on cardboard boxes and sleeping in doorways. And it breaks my heart every time. So, yes.
Yeah.
Days to be aware of.
Santa, I want to do one since, you're to blame for this. It is also, as I saw, it's World Sight Day. And so for the rest of the show, I'll wear my goggles since you made me get them. All right.
You look nice.
I do not. I look like Steve Yuckle's brother. All right. See, look at my laugh. I'm taking.
No, I was gonna say I think it's nice because I like the button up with the glasses as well. Like it's a whole outfit, it's a whole caricature. Which
imagine if you threw an earring in.
Anyway, we have Jamillah's coming up. Let's get serious. A cool nerd. Then I go from like Steve Yuckle to Stefan. Remember he used to transform?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
You have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Anyway, we've got Jamillah coming up. We're gonna take 1:58 seconds to get some drink and finish my protein shake. Talk soon.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Unlock your business potential with BDC's General Microloan, offering up to $30,000 for Bermudian small and medium businesses. Whether it's for inventory, working capital, or equipment, we provide 100% guarantee on approved loans. Simple application, low interest rates, and fast processing. Apply today and make your business dream come true.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Nova's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show, Central Durham. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. I just want to give a big shout out, because we don't do it often, to those who are tuned in on YouTube. We thank you. Facebook, we thank you. Instagram, we thank you. X, we thank you. LinkedIn, we thank you. On our website, we thank you. There are so many different platforms you can tune into the Daily Hour on, and we are grateful for whatever platform you choose as long as you are tuned in. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on, and help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve the community. All right, without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. She's like a co-host. She's here monthly. It took a while for us to get her to do this on a monthly basis, but she's here on a monthly basis. And I love this segment, We Mean Business. And they're talking about something new, a new marketplace that I believe is not only beneficial for entrepreneurs, but also consumers. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to Jamillah Lodge from the BDC. All right.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
We're good. I mean, they were teasing me for my glasses, so I took them back off.
Listen, why you let people do that? You look just fine, Jamel. I saw you.
Thank you.
You can't see. You need glasses, so put them on.
I mean, it's Sandra's fault. She
look, I'll join you. Come on. Let's do this.
You know what? This is what I'm talking about. Because Sandra's not wearing hers. Sandra's not wearing hers. Yeah.
I feel left out.
Yeah, you should put your glasses on. Thank you, Jamillah.
See there now, look.
Ooh, I can see clearly now.
The
hate is gone. Yeah. Jamillah, thank you so much for joining us. Always.
Thank you for having me on.
One of our favorite segments, We Mean Business. And audience, get your questions and comments ready. But we're talking about ByBermuda today. Not BUY, but BY Bermuda. I
Correct.
love it. Tell us a bit about the idea. Like, what is it, and where the idea come from?
Okay, so as you know, we support entrepreneurs and small businesses, and a lot of our entrepreneurs are micro entrepreneurs. So these will be vendors, people who sell their wares periodically, services as well. And one of the things that we found in talking with entrepreneurs is that the cost to create an online presence was prohibitive. So as you know, when you set up a shopping cart online and all of that, you have to pay fees. You have to pay merchant fees to the bank. You have to pay transaction fees when people use the shopping cart. And some micro vendors just are not making enough money to be able to do that yet. So the creation of ByBermuda came out of a need to fill a gap, to try and encourage those smaller businesses, or to assist those smaller businesses to scale, right? So at the end of the day, we just would like to be able to support businesses with what they need. So if you need an online platform, if you need a shopping cart so that your products can be made available all year round, as opposed to just when a market is being held, then you can use ByBermuda to list your products online and create an opportunity for you to have a shopping cart and online access without having to pay for it yet.
Gotcha.
So, why is a website like ByBermuda important for Bermudian entrepreneurs and their growth?
So, like I said, at the end of the day, we recognize that most people who start businesses are interested in scaling. Like, a lot of times you have a side hustle, right? But if you ask them, they really want this to be their full-time job, but there are costs associated with doing that. And so we recognize that not everybody can afford those costs at the start. And so what ByBermuda is, it's sort of like a bridge, if you will. I mean, our ultimate goal is for those that have a shopping cart to grow enough where they can create their own website, create their own online marketplace, and be part of the entire entrepreneurial ecosystem online themselves. But until such time, then we have created this vehicle, like any of our other products, to support those entrepreneurs who are not in a position to afford the cost of paying merchant fees and transaction fees. So BDC basically, we subsidize those costs. So we cover those costs. So essentially, someone buys something, the money goes into our account, and at the end of the week, we put whatever they bought in your account, and you don't have to worry about fees being taken out or anything like that.
Wow.
So it helps.
Right. So that brings me to my next question. So is this, I hear you saying for the short term, right? So what are the requirements for small businesses to sign up with ByBermuda?
So of course you have to be a BDC member. BDC membership is free. So you could log on to our website, and once you register your business with us, then you would just create an account. So it's similar. I don't know if anyone has ever used like a Etsy account or something like that, where they've set up their store, they upload their products, create an account, log in. You put in all your banking information so we know how to pay you. But it's essentially that. I mean, as long as you're not selling anything illegal, I think it's good to go. And the site does support products as well as services. So we have someone who uses the site very much. She does workshops. And so she is able to now get people to sign on to her website, click the link, which takes them to our site where they can pay for their services. And then we put the money into their account. So I don't think it's hard. I don't think it's hard to sign up, but again, there is some work that needs to be done. We want to make sure that you're a legitimate business. We want to make sure that you're selling legitimate products, etc. But at the end of the day, the goal is to create an opportunity for those who can't afford to get online by themselves to get online.
It's a process, but hey, it might be worth it, right?
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Look, I'm a little biased, right? Because we did it, but I would like to think that it is. In the conversations where we've spoken with entrepreneurs who actually use the site, they're like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. This is great. Like, why aren't other people doing it?" I'm like, I don't know.
Indeed.
That was my next question. What has the response been from the small businesses so far?
So, you know, with my expectation versus reality, right? So in my mind, I'm like, when we build it, everybody's gonna flock to it and be like, yes, finally. Well, that hasn't necessarily been the case, which is why I'm here talking to you about it, so that people who may not know that it is available. So right now we have about 22 vendors on. For us, our goal for the end of the year was to get 50. And so I'm saying the end of the fiscal year, so that's March 2025. And at the end of the day, I'm hopeful that we will get there. And if I'm being honest, we built it because we were told, or we got feedback from entrepreneurs saying we just can't set up online businesses because it costs too much. We're not ready. We're not selling enough products. So why am I going to pay for a merchant account when I don't have a 2 or 3 sales coming in? It's just not financially worth it. And so we're like, okay, well, what if we build it, take that cost away from you, and it creates an opportunity for you to get your product out there, so people aren't looking for you when the vending season is over. They can find you, purchase your products. Income is coming in for you. You now are in a position to expand your business and scale your business. And what we're hoping is that at the end of it, however long you're on the platform, that you are in a position to create your own shopping cart, your own online facility on your own website. That's, for us, that's a win, because we can see the clear growth in that.
Gotcha.
What are some of the challenges? I know this couldn't have been easy. What are some of the challenges that you faced starting this website?
It wasn't easy. I think one of the things that we were challenged with is finding someone to build it for us. So we initially wanted to try and do everything local, but we don't always have the local infrastructure here to be able to do it. So we went through several iterations. We met with different developers and tried to see, is there a way that everyone can work together? And then actually getting it built and then getting people to use it has been more of a challenge than I expected. So I don't know if it's people just don't want to do the work to put it on, but I'm thinking, well, we're not charging you to list on the site. We're not charging you transaction fees. So if it requires you sitting down and uploading your product or uploading your services, I would think that people will want to do it. But again, that has been one of the biggest challenges, I think. It's like, now that it's here, just getting people to be aware that it's here, that it is a tool for them to use. And then, as it grows, as we get more and more people, they will tell us what they want to see, because the site right now is we don't do any logistics, right? So we're not delivering products or anything. The only thing we're providing is that merchant account, is that shopping cart, is the ability for you to transact online. But you, as the business owner or the vendor, will be responsible for fulfilling whatever it is that you're selling. So if it's a product, they purchase it, and then you would coordinate with the person that purchased it to get the product to them.
Okay. And audience, if you have any questions or comments for Jamillah for this segment of We Mean Business, please send them through. We're talking about ByBermuda.com. You can go on the website while we're chatting and look it up. You may have some questions just by going on the website. You've said you've got 22 signed up so far. By the end of March 31st, 2025, you're hoping to have 50. We do have a question from the audience. Charles H. Jefferson II, he's asking, while I think this is great for a startup, how long can a vendor stay on? Is this giving a false sense of security about what it really takes to run a business?
That's a good question, Charles, and thank you for that. I don't think so. I think a lot of entrepreneurs know what it costs to run a business, and they know they can't afford to have an online shopping cart, which is why they haven't done it. In addition to providing this service, we also provide business advice and guidance. That's one of our primary resources for small businesses. So if you're on board with BDC, you have access to all of the resources. So in addition to understanding what it costs for you to run your business and transaction fees, it's just a means to an end. Like, if you are in a position to sell more product, increase your revenue, then you have the ability to cover those additional expenses, those additional costs. So it's achieving our objective. And we're also hoping that it's achieving the objective of the entrepreneur that lists on the site, because now they're in a position to sell more product and service.
All righty. We have a comment from Rashida Godwin. She says, I work with a few small businesses as a business owner, and I found that most small businesses prefer cash right away, and they don't want to wait for a credit card payment to come through. Before you answer that, I think I've spoken on this show previously, is that, you know, we have so many people who have been self-employed for years. You have older people, and they believe once the job's done, they should get cash in hand. And, you know, I was privileged to go to business school, but I didn't need to go to business school to learn that that's just not how business necessarily works as you grow, right? It's not customer facing like that. Like, you know, customer service, you're really going to build a person and they'll pay, you know, maybe in that 30-day period. That's how, you know, businesses work. And I almost was challenged to say, and I say this not on you, Jamillah or Sancha, and these words represent me only. I think that's something that I'm so challenged with when it comes to small Black-owned businesses is, folks, honestly, you have to have cash to support your business, because not everyone's going to pay you right away. Give them that 30-day period. It's not the same as going grocery shopping and buying something on that day. Like the groceries that you're purchasing from, let's say, Lindo's or Marketplace, they probably haven't even paid the wholesaler yet.
Yeah.
You feel me? So how do we get people to understand that as businesses grow, that's how it's going to be? Like, you got people stuck, but that's not how I do business, or this is not how I've always done business.
So I think that's an interesting question, and we see that a lot too. And I think at the crux, it's a mindset shift. I think in Bermuda, we have been fortunate in that there's still businesses today that don't accept credit cards. They accept cash only. But the rest of the world is not moving that way. And I feel strongly that if we don't get our local entrepreneurs to upskill or understand that the rest of the world, we're at cryptocurrency now. We're not even talking about like US dollar or Bermuda dollar. We're talking about digital currencies, but you just only want to accept cash. So I think that's a limiting mindset. And I think that if we are in a position to work with small businesses, we have to show them the benefits of accepting credit card transactions. There's something called it's lost revenue, right? Think of yourself. If you're the individual, you're the consumer, and you go to, I don't know, to purchase breakfast, right? The shop that's selling the breakfast only accepts cash, and all you have is $5. So all you can afford to buy is a croissant, but what you really want is a croissant and a coffee. If they could accept that card, you might get a croissant, a coffee, and a little snack for later, because you have the ability to pay for more items. And so I think that's what we have to help our local and small entrepreneurs understand, is that even though there's a cost to doing this business, the opportunity for you to earn more revenue to cover those costs increases when you're able to accept credit card payments. And that's what I would say. I mean, you can't force anyone to do anything, but to me, it's about helping people to understand why they should consider making the decision.
Yeah, and I think cash is always best, but I think just using, and it's unfortunate, but Mr. Chicken just announced that they're only going to take cards now at one of their locations due to robberies and so on. But that's not, I mean,
well, that's another thing, right?
Yeah,
that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that people shy away from, being a business owner for so long, talking to people that are just getting into it, is the bank fees, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's the bank fees. But I feel like as you grow, that's something you just kind of have to write into your budget and take that PO to say you're allowing for the convenience. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's something that you just have to allot for and accept it and move forward.
Yep.
And I hear that from a lot of people. The bank fees, I don't want to pay that.
But Sancha just said it. Like, yeah, we don't want to pay the bank fees. But again, as you grow, again, budget. To have a business, you have to budget. You have to put these things in. And when you start growing and making the money, you're not even going to, well, hopefully you're not going to notice those fees. But I want to also say this. I mean, I've been to quite a few places lately where they don't accept cash, like restaurants, certain small stores, they do not accept cash. And again, you know, I speak about cultural mindset, and you said it, you know, we need a mindset shift if we're to grow.
That's right. It's very true. It's I can assure you that, take COVID, for example, right? those people who only accept cash and transacting face to face were at a disadvantage to those who already had an online system set in place. All of a sudden now, the only way we can do business is online. And so everybody's rushing now to get online. And now that is gone, or we're, you know, back healthy and the world has returned to some sense of normalcy, it's disappointing to think that some people's mindset has shifted backwards to, oh no, I don't need to transact online. I don't need to accept credit cards. And I think that it's just a continuous effort on our part. That's what we're in the business of doing, is educating entrepreneurs, helping them to understand opportunities that exist, and creating ways in which they can take advantage of those opportunities that do not put them at a financial disadvantage. So you can't afford the bank fees? Great. BDC is going to cover that for you for a period of time. So you know, that was the whole point, because we heard that a lot too, Sancha, and we were like, well, what's stopping you from creating this marketplace? Because you know that your consumers don't necessarily have to just be in Bermuda. Like, you have to think bigger, broader. How are you going to scale your business if all you're doing is accepting cash? Like, there are other people out there who may want your product and service, but they don't even know it exists because you don't even have an online presence.
Well, I think you just answered. We did have someone on Instagram, ambitious_637, says, does ByBermuda only offer domestic transactions, or do you also have you also seen international transactions?
So currently it's domestic, and the reason that being, anybody can purchase anything, but the site does not handle fulfillment, right? So we're not mailing the items to you. So as the entrepreneur, as the vendor, you have to determine or figure out how you're going to get the item to the person. So anyone can go on the site, put in their credit card information, and buy your product. But once at the end of the day, you have to fulfill it. So that's like a phase 2 or phase 3, or if we don't need to do phase 2 and phase 3 and everybody got it all sorted, we won't. But the bottom line is that we were addressing the cost. Sancha, like you said, the transaction costs, the fees to pay the bank to have the online ability to transact. All of that is what we're taking on for a period of time, so that the entrepreneur gets used to doing this. Like I said, a lot of the people that are on the site never even had a website or online presence. So you go to a vendor market, you see them, you love it, and you can't find them no more. Not until the next vendor market. So we were like, what if you could create a storefront? You could make your products and services available all year round. Indeed. You know, that would, I would imagine, increase your revenue, right?
Yeah.
Can I just ask one more question? I know Charles asked it, but is there a length of time, a duration of time in which you're allowing vendors to stay on the site, or what period of time are you saying, okay, this is what we're offering this to you for?
So we have gone back and forth and we've discussed this. You know, some of our board subcommittee team have been like, oh, it should be based on amount, like how much they're earning based on time. So we don't have anything set right now. I think what we try to do is we try to utilize real data from people transacting on the site to help us to make those decisions. We do foresee at some point you have to offboard them, because the whole point is to be a bridge, right? You start, you don't have anything. This gets you where you need to be, gets you earning revenue to the point where you can afford to do your own thing. So we recognize that it's not forever, but at this point, we don't have a set time. We're hoping that the entrepreneurs will tell us what they need and how long they think is suitable. But to give you a number, the things that we've discussed but haven't decided on, we've talked about 1 to 3 years. We've talked about doing sales of X amount, but no decision has been made on that. Like I said, we really would like to use data gathered from the actual entrepreneurs who are transacting on the site and having a conversation with them and saying, what's best practice for you? Because at the end of the day, it's not a moneymaker for us, right? This is purely subsidy. This is purely in support of the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And so it's an expense for us to do this. But if at the end of the day, those who are listed on the site come out and they are better for it, they recognize the need to accept online payments, they're in a position to set up their own websites and take credit card payments, then we're succeeding. We've achieved our objective.
Indeed. And as Mark Arthur C. Phillips says here, bank fees, going back to that, it's the cost of doing business.
It certainly is.
And Maya says, this is a great discussion. Audience, she's encouraging you to share it with local business owners who would benefit. Don't forget to like and share, but hey, let's help her get to that 50 go. Jamillah, overall, just from a personal and professional stand, what do you hope ByBermuda is able to do not only for entrepreneurs, but consumers as well?
So the short answer for the vendors and the entrepreneurs that list on the site is I hope it creates an opportunity for them to get their product and services out to more people. I hope it creates an opportunity for them to scale their business. If they want to do this full time and they are not in a financial position to do it right away, this is just a help up. That's it, right? This is just a bridge. It's not forever, but it is to give you that start. It is to address the issue that you said you can't afford those bank fees right now. But hopefully, in being able to list your products, being able to create opportunities for customers to purchase your products on a more recurring basis gives you the revenue that you need so that you can scale your business. So that's what I hope happens to the entrepreneurs. For the consumer, like I said, for my own personal experience, I've gone to markets and found a product that I absolutely love. For whatever reason, I don't have the name of the person who did it, and I just can't find them again until next Christmas. So this creates an opportunity for us as consumers to find those entrepreneurs who are making these Bermuda-made products, these special products, these unique products, all year round, and giving us an opportunity to find them, support them, purchase their products, and it creates something that is by Bermuda. These products and services on this site are uniquely by Bermudians. And to me, it's a community effort. It supports the entrepreneur. And if we can buy it, then we are getting what we need out of the deal as well.
Indeed. And before you head out, just remind people where they can go to not only learn more, but if people were interested in signing up.
Sure. Just go to www.bybermuda.com. You can go on our website as well. There's a link to the site as well. And really, if you're interested as a consumer, you can sign up to purchase items. If you're interested as a vendor, you have a service that you want to sell. Like I said, it does not cost you any money to sign up. We do not charge you transaction fees. So if somebody buys a $100 item, you get $100 in your account at the end of the week. And so we really hope that people take advantage of this. That's why we built it. We built it for you. We built it to create opportunities for you to grow your business. And if you grow your business, we all benefit.
Yeah, indeed. Jamillah, thank you for another conversation.
Thank you.
This is helpful. Hopefully we could get entrepreneurs. We have a lot of entrepreneurs tuned in. So hopefully we'll get some signups immediately following this show. Let's get to that 50. And we can't wait to the next month for the next
month. I'll see you then.
People like spending money around that time.
Exactly. And it's perfect for Christmas, right?
Indeed.
Christmas is, I can't even believe Christmas is right around the corner. I can't.
Already. Talk soon. Have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Take care. Take care, Bermuda.
All right. Jamillah Lodge, folks from the BDC. If you appreciated that conversation, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Share it with an entrepreneur. We're going to take our final break. We'll be back in a minute, 25 seconds. We're going to wrap it up. But also, Sandra's got a daily play. It's a Name That Place.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, it will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today to find the right policy for you.
Take a look at our walkthrough for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Jamillah Lodge for joining us from the BDC for another segment of We Mean Business, ByBermuda.com. Folks, go check it out. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC group of companies, Lindo's, Medical House, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. Again, if you haven't already, please make sure you give us a like, a love, a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, follow, hit that notifications bell if you're on YouTube, and make sure you just share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues, to make sure everyone you know has access to these important community conversations that we really, truly do hope improve our community. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sancha, are you ready?
I am. I'm not really good with this. Name the place, but let's have it.
Okay, here we go. Let me get my music ready. I may have done this one before, but I think it's easy. Sancha, what is the name of the largest hot desert in the world?
Hot desert. That's a popular one.
Yeah. It's
It wasn't a trick question.
No, it wasn't this time. I figured it would trick you. That's the only desert I really knew of growing up, outside of the one across from Victor Scott, which we referred to as the desert. Yeah, Karen Simmons. People enter Karen into the draw, but everyone got it. Stacey Ann Brown, Suzanne Ingham, Renee Simmons, Kevin ABD8. You had a question, you weren't sure. Kathy, you all got it.
It's like me.
Yeah, so let's add Karen. So we've got Sean Smith, we've got Suzanne, we've got Karen this week. Who's going to win the draw tomorrow? But Sancha, let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on the flooding during rain in Bermuda, and then the conversation with Jamillah about ByBermuda.com.
Okay, so flooding in Bermuda, we obviously have infrastructure issues that are not being addressed. Jamal, this is going off a little bit. We have been doing interviews with streeters, and I find that people are willing to have these conversations with us, but don't want to speak out. Until we get into a space whereas we are comfortable speaking out and dealing with the issues that are going on in Bermuda, nothing is going to change. We cannot be afraid of what's to come and whose feathers we're going to ruffle. We need better for ourselves and generations to come. And we need to start living in this. This fear, it's mind-boggling to me. That's with the infrastructure issues. We need to speak up. As far as BEDC coming on, I'm going to be honest, Jamal, this morning when I woke up, I was just like, why is BEDC doing this? I felt as if, someone else can take this on. It could be another avenue for someone to create a business. But in speaking to Jamillah, it did bring to light that it's a support. As long as they're not doing it long term. I know when I build the website for the garage, it's a headache. It's a lot of work. And if I was able to have someone hold my hand through this and actually give me an experience before I actually got my own website up and running and I knew what to expect, and I'm avoiding fees. Any entrepreneurs that are out there that can, I say, utilize it, and let them hold your hand through this process of building your own.
Indeed. As far as the flooding in Bermuda, I think I echo what you said. You and Phil have been out on the streets, and the amount of times Phil would hit me up, oh, we spoke to such, but they didn't want to be on camera. I've been on the streets with Maya, and they don't want to be on camera. And I guess my question to people is, what are you afraid of? It always takes me back to that time I had the BPSU, Bermuda Public Service Union, on a talk show I did back in the day. And the question was asked, should union members, should those who are not union members benefit from the sacrifice of union members, right? Because they do. If a union fights for something, they benefit, right? And I feel like that in life, you know, we cannot be a lazy people when it comes to wanting better for ourselves and expecting others people to always fight our battles. At some point, we have to stand up and fight for ourselves. What's the word? I'm not saying everyone needs to fight the same, but you've got to stand up for yourself. And if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Bermuda's crumbling. And I want to go back to a comment that Charles made, Charles H. Jefferson II. He said, you know, we were attractive to IB because we had great tourism infrastructure, location, hotels, restaurants, entertainment. While we still have a great location, the other things are not as great. Folks, do not take what we have for granted. Do not take what we have for granted. And that means holding those responsible accountable and ensuring that they put the best interests of Bermuda and Bermudians before their own political futures. As far as ByBermuda, I think it's a great concept. Like Sanja, I had to understand it for support. It's a great way to get started online. And if you know someone who, again, there are a lot of one-man bands, like people out there doing everything themselves. This could help you leapfrog into a space that you really want to be. If you can, take advantage of it. And for those who are interested in finding some local vendors in one spot, check it out, bybermuda.com. Sanja, you've got some daily inspiration for us?
I do. There are times in life when instead of complaining, you do something about your complaints. And this is by Rita Dove. I didn't know who she was. She's an essayist and poet.
Well, I thank her for just repeat it one more time, Sanja, please.
There are times in life when instead of complaining, you do something about your complaints.
Yeah.
It's very appropriate.
Very. More now than ever. Folks, again, please give us a like, a love. Make sure you subscribe, follow, share, whatever platform you're on. Just show us some love. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sanja Durham. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.